I'm really excited about this. This is Meta. Now, this is also, like HoloLens, a developer kit, right?
It is.
So it's not like a consumer product yet.
Even if it was like this today, I don't think it would be a consumer product yet, because we're finally at a point now where we have really immersive augmented reality. This happens to be the most immersive in the world by a factor of 3, but the software isn't really there yet. So really, 2017 is about getting this into the hands of the tens of thousands of developers that are going to create the applications, the tools, the experiences that are going to make you want to wear this thing all day, and it's going to make it worth having your makeup messed up.
Now,
It's okay.
it was worth it. Well, you played with it, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
cool.
it was great. I mean, and of course, I'm not wearing that much makeup, stage makeup, when
it was,
you're playing AR.
Leo's makeup is
Yeah,
what I was
my
talking about.
makeup that was the worst.
But I mean, it was very comfortable while I was wearing it. I actually didn't want to take it off, but we had to do the show.
Well,
so.
if you trade me later Mario Kart, I'll maybe.
So a couple of things to point out, as Robert did, this is tethered.
It is.
You have a PC or you could have a laptop and a backpack. But that means you can do more with this than Microsoft's doing with the HoloLens. You said 3 times?
3 times the field of view, so 90-degree field of view, so immersive that you don't really see the edges. So it's almost like virtual reality on top of the real world.
That's a common complaint with the HoloLens, is that even though they show it as a full view, it really is just a postage.
Like a light box.
A letterbox, yeah. So let's play with this Meta a little bit. By the way, the other thing that's different is it's about 1/3 the cost of the HoloLens, $949 for the developer kit.
This is true.
How are you getting good take-up? I mean, Microsoft's a big name. They're going to have more.
We actually have more pre-orders for the Meta 2 than there are HoloLenses in the world.
Oh.
So
that's a good sign.
We will have by far the most developers in augmented reality for headsets in 2017 using our platform. And I think it's really because of the cost and the field of view, because we know that's the #1 thing people want.
Cost is huge. The HoloLens is $3,500. A hobbyist could get this for $949.
Exactly.
Now, one thing immediately I see, you can wear glasses comfortably. That's
yeah, I was
important
noticing
for me.
that too.
Well, only about 99% of us early adopters wear glasses, so
that's a nice feature.
Yes.
You don't look too weird.
No,
I
I
look
look
like a
I look
bug.
pretty cool. You know, I wore it at South by Southwest during all of the festivities, and it's funny because I wore Google Glass a couple years ago.
Oh, then you look like a nerd.
People did not like me, especially at Berkeley Bowl. They hated me.
Oh yeah.
I know.
There's a lot going on at that time.
There was, but I feel like now things are at a different place.
We've accepted it.
People are super interested and excited about the technology now, and I think it's okay to wear cameras on our faces. I mean, essentially, what's happening is I'm creating a 3D map of the whole world.
So let me point out what's going on.
Yeah.
So this is like a heads-up display. The plastic here, you see through it. You see the world completely, but you could project something on it that would be superimposed on the world. You've got on the front 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lenses. Are these?
So you have 2 SLAM cameras here, which is simultaneous localization and mapping. And what Robert was talking about earlier is how self-driving car technology is finding its way into these headsets. And that's exactly what's happening here, is we're essentially creating a 3D map of the world, and then we understand our position relative to the world. So if I take a holographic, let's say, TWiT logo and place it right here, then it's going to stay there. And in fact, let me...
what are the 3 in the middle before we get to that?
Yes, so that's the depth sensor. So that's for hand tracking.
Kind of like on a Kinect. It's the 3D sensor. Okay.
So it's giving you the ability to place things and understand sort of the surfaces as well, not just the position of things.
I'll let you log in, because you need to log into the
I'm going to
software
start this
here.
thing up, and I'm going to actually do some calibration.
So we are able to, this actually was challenging on the HoloLens. We're actually able to, Meta gives you a little more room. We're actually able to see the output of the Meta. I guess it's because we have your PC down here. So right now you're looking at our picture, but you can also see, and you've seen it earlier, what Ryan is seeing, and it's mapping the environment right now. So hold your head steady. So it's figuring out good mapping.
Do I have to stay steady? FYI,
no, you're the
I'm
environment.
just I'm curious.
You're the environment.
Interesting question. You think you're joking, but you're actually asking a great question. So the algorithms are actually robust enough to realize that you are not going to be a stable part of the environment.
That's a human. They're unstable.
This human's not stable.
The table's not going anywhere.
So I have this logo here, which is the Meta logo, which looks really cool, and I can look at from any angle.
Oh, you can go behind it?
I can. And
so
there's
in
also
your
occlusion.
We're seeing a 2D version of it, but in your version, you're seeing something floating in your world.
Correct. Correct. And you can interact with these things. You can grab them. You can move them around. And in fact, I actually can show you a much cooler logo than the Meta logo.
Oh, I like that
There it is.
logo.
Look at that.
When we designed this, we never anticipated anybody be grabbing in space.
So here you go. So actually, I can hand this over to you.
You can give it to me? Wow.
And
Wow.
you can kind of
I
hold
can't
that.
do anything because I don't have the, but it's on my head.
It's floating
That's
above
cool.
you.
So what you're seeing is Ryan's view. And I have to say, we both tried this before the show, and it really is a full view. It's like you're looking through slightly darker lenses, but you see the whole view. You could walk around easily. You could drive with these on, really. You have peripheral vision and everything.
It's funny.
I know, it's not recommended, I'm
It's
sure.
funny you say drive, though, because this is actually one of the things that we really have to think about. Because, at Meta, we're not just designing for the sake of augmented reality. We want to build not just the hardware, but the experience, the operating system. And, just putting Windows on my face is really the old paradigm.
Right.
What
That's
we're trying
kind of
to
what
do,
Microsoft's doing. They got Windows holographic,
yeah,
they got menus.
and in a lot of ways, they're doing it to defend their market share.
Right.
And they're doing it for all the device manufacturers.
Well, I've seen some cool demos like air traffic control, where a controller would have the entire airport sitting in front of him, and he'd see planes moving in and out. And
Enterprise situation for
Exactly.
that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Well, you've got the world in front
I
of you.
do. I have the whole world in my hands.
He's got the whole world.
And I can actually, it's got a lot of dexterity with the hand tracking,
that's
so the
really
ability to spin it around, to make it any size I want. And I can move pretty fast, too.
Give me some examples of how this might be used.
So really for work, for play, for shopping, for learning, for design, for manufacturing. And in 2017, these are a lot of different areas that the developers are making things in. But some of the immediate use cases that you're going to see massive amounts of adoption in are 3D design. If you are a 3D designer, to be able to plug into your SolidWorks software and automatically have it show those 3D models, that's a killer application. And if you're one of the 2+ million people using that software every day, this is a game changer for you. I had the head of design from one of the biggest automotive companies in the world say to me, it takes me 7 years to go from design to driveway. And with this, now I'm seeing it the day we design it, life size, walking around it, touching it, interacting with it. And it's collaborative. If you wear it, I wear it, you wear it, we can all see and touch the same things.
Let me ask you that, because we visited the Ford labs about 4 years ago, and they were using at the time VR.
Yep.
Why do you think AR would be more appealing than VR?
You got to be able to see each other,
So you could collaborate.
I need to see your eyes, you need to see my eyes. We need to be able to see the same things in the real world
Still
together.
rely on those cues as human beings.
Could two people
much
be in
nonverbal.
AR? Could I be wearing a
Absolutely.
Meta? So we could be both looking at a model and we could both interact with them?
Correct. We could even draw together. We
see,
even
that's
have
interesting.
something that we haven't shown publicly, which is, I'll tell you about it because,
Nobody's watching. That's the good news. Yeah. It's a podcast. You can tell me anything.
We actually have holographic communication today, which uses depth sensors. And I can see a 3D version of you. You can see a 3D version of me. And we can even watch your favorite show, The Bachelor, you told me earlier.
Right.
Right. So we could watch The Bachelor together.
So the rose would just come floating out at you.
He knows the rose.
Yeah,
See?
yeah, I know about
He
it.
didn't actually tell me that, but now he's proven that it is.
Oh, I've revealed the
Everybody's
truth.
got their own reality TV thing.
And for learning, oh my gosh, I had the Minister of Education in China say to me, there are more students in my country than there are people in your country. And I believe all students will use this within the next 5 years to learn. And he thinks it's going to give his country an edge.
Well, look what he's looking at right now. He's looking at a model of the brain. It's got information on it. You can move it around. You can interact with it. We had a International Space Station model earlier. You could actually look into the space station.
See if we can
put
put this back where it belongs.
Give me the parietal lobe. I don't need that frontal lobe, though. Impulse control's never been my strength.
There we go. There it is, right there.
It's a nice hat. I love it.
And we can also look at the space station that we saw earlier.
Yes.
Neat.
And
Let's
go
see the car.
And go inside and see.
You could stretch it.
Indeed. So we can get
Yeah.
really big and see
Look
that from
inside.
any angle. We can even go through it and see, as you mentioned, the interiors.
Yeah.
I wish people at home could get the experience of actually wearing this, because it's somewhat different than looking at it on the
This was the one
screen.
that really made me a believer. Is this one right here? This easy little thing.
Let's put the car down there.
Yeah.
And then I can actually stick my head
It's
inside
like a real
the
life
car.
micro machine.
I can even
details
read
and
the
everything.
GPS if I shut one eye here.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the thing. You do have to start shutting one eye, which is
Why?
what I had to do
Well, if you
earlier.
get too close.
Yeah.
Just like a real object. If you put your
natural.
hand too close to your face, you can't really focus
Yeah.
on it.
I see.
we
so-
weren't made that way.
So so these are independent screens, in effect, really, right?
Yeah, so it's actually it's our own custom optical engine, which does involve a screen
Is
and
it
also a
projecting
special
from behind?
Yeah,
or?
so it's actually reflecting here and then reflecting into your eyes.
Got it.
So we've invented a new kind of visor.
It's like a
I was going to ask
teleprompter,
about
a
the
little bit.
visor because it looked like, kind of looked like sunglasses-y with the shading on it.
Exactly. So, you know, you've got the custom optical engine, and we actually had Meta 1 before anyone. We were the first augmented reality device in the market.
That's the one that made Scoble cry.
It was one of the very first ones, and he got emotional about that one. But
Beautiful.
what was really, I was one of the Meta 1 customers, and what was great about it was I could
that's
see
neat.
holograms. But what was terrible about it was the field of view.
Right.
It was useless in the
Right.
sense of day-to-day work, right? I couldn't
Yeah.
replace my monitor with it.
Right.
So the #1 piece of feedback from the 1,000+ developers was you got to make the field of view bigger. So that's what we did. We hired the best people in the world in optics. We invented this new optical engine, and then we put the sensors together with that. So now I literally, at my desk in my office, I sit there. My cinema display, 27-inch, sits on the sideline.
I was going to ask, yeah.
And I have my Mac actually on a virtual
Does
display
this
right
work
in
on
front
the
of me.
Mac?
Officially, not yet, but in my office it does.
Because
course.
we know the hologram will never,
Right.
the HoloLens will never work on the
Yeah,
Mac.
so
right?
we did, when we started taking pre-orders, we did say that we would eventually support
Nice.
Mac.
Nice.
We haven't released the SDK for yet. What I'm doing is I'm actually streaming my Mac screen to a Windows computer and then
Clever.
streaming that on there.
Look at that.
But I'm able to totally replace my Mac screen today, use this all day long, and then I look up and above me, I have the weather clouds and the rain dropping onto my head and the visor if it's raining out. I have my holographic Tesla Model 3 because I'm a Tesla fan sitting on my desk. I have pictures of my girlfriend. You know, these are all things.
How do you feel about that? His girlfriend's sitting there going, yeah, he does, it's sad.
Hey, it's better than
so
a picture on the desk, I will
Just
say.
imagine if you were watching a show 50 years ago or 40 years ago and somebody said, someday we're going to have mice, we're going to have keyboards, we're going to have screens with windows, and you know, you'd only seen a computer that was as big as a room and you had to have somebody operate it for you. That's kind of what's happening here. But I don't think it's going to be 30 years. I think it's a few years off
Yeah.
before this is the next generation of user
We're
interface.
barreling through right now.
Kind of amazing. Is the goal to get it though down to glasses
Oh
size?
yeah, of course. And
yeah.
you know, our CEO promised on the TED stage about a year ago that he would get this down within 3 to 5 years
Really?
to a strip of glass over our eyes.
So in the next 3 to 5 years, I'll be able to wear my prescription glasses, but it will have built into it augmented reality capability.
That's the goal, and
Wow.
I think we're going to get there a lot faster than people think. And I think,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we already saw the beginnings of that with glass, so we know that like something like that's possible. and
Exactly.
We're already sold on that idea.
Yeah, I mean, glass was you know, they actually rebranded it, so it's not
Yeah.
augmented reality; it's assisted reality, which is kind of a funny thing. But you know, glass opened the door, and I think in a lot of ways, the reason that we have MR as a nomenclature now is because glass kind of screwed up AR for a lot of the industry, and they wanted to sort of move away from that.
Yeah.
But really what this is about is putting a digital layer on top of the real world that's contextually relevant to you, to your friends, to your family, to where you're going, to what you're doing. If I want an Uber, I should be able to reach down to my holographic belt, grab my Uber orb.
Hold on, let me reach into my holographic belt. I love that. I love that.
I think those are kind of futuristic ideas, but I think there's also some very concrete stuff.
Yeah.
That, it could be your new user interface. I think the idea of applying information to the world you're moving through, it can be very helpful. Once I'm 80 and I see you, it would pop up, that's Florence Ion, you used to know her. And I would say, Florence, great to see you. And I think that those kinds of things, those are not as cool as an Uber orb in your utility belt, but might be more useful, really.
But the Uber orb is the beginning of that,
or the other
right?
way around,
The little orb.
The software is really what's going to drive adoption.
Yeah.
And what's happening on this platform is not just good for Meta, it's good for Facebook, it's good for Google, it's good for Microsoft.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And Magic Leap and HoloLens, these are my friends today.
Right.
And for the next couple years until we
it's
get
not competitive yet.
Yeah, eventually we'll slit each other's
throats. It's like when podcasting began. Now we hate each other. Ryan Pamplin, he's a VP at Meta. Where can people get the developer kit and find out more?
Metavision.com for $9.49. They can pre-order. Don't charge them until it ships. All the pre-orders will ship within the next couple months, and then get their hands on one of these and start building the future and making their augmented reality dreams come true.
Metavision.com. Ryan, that is really cool. And boy, at that price, I think you'll see a lot of people who couldn't afford $3,500 be taking a look at AR, because you want to get in this game. This is
well,
where,
and
this is
also,
where the puck is going.
It also really upgrades your fashion. I mean, it goes well.
I think
here.
I look good in it.
I think so.
It's the leather trim.
You're
it really
one
adds to it.
Runway ready now. There you go. Look at that.
But you say runway ready. Remember, Diane von Furstenberg, she had the Google Glass on
did.
the models.
She did.
And pretty soon, we could be seeing these in some high fashion
Well, now that
models.
Leo's wearing it.
I think this would look, if you had a motorcycle helmet with these built in, just imagine what life would be like, right?
Oh, that could be really helpful, maybe.
I know.
For more cycler.
You could have a rear
Alert,
view mirror
alert,
in the
someone's
corner
about to-
and alert. Yeah, exactly.